Biotechnology. We have invited a few of our esteemed alumni to share insights from their journeys. Our first speaker is Dr. Sanjana B. Devi Kangabam, who is a supervisor at Quest Diagnostics, Virginia, USA. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Sanjana Kangabam, a seasoned immunologist and biotech researcher with a PhD from IIT Kharagpur. She has worked with renowned institutions like Harvard Medical School and Valley Cornell Medicine and has led research in immunology, oncology, inflammation biology, and clinical diagnostics across top pharmaceutical companies including PTC Therapeutics and Arbutus Biopharma. Currently a lab supervisor at Quest Diagnostics, Dr. Kangabam brings deep expertise in translational research, flow cytometry, and scientific writing. She is also an active member of leading professional societies in immunology and medical writing. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sanjana Kangabam.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction, and thank you so much my professors, Majama, for having this first alumni meet. Okay.
You are not changed, Sanjana, so nice.
Yes, sir. I'm not changed. I'm just the same, and I want to remain the same. It's very nice to see everyone. I don't know, I have no words to express. Let me introduce myself first. So my name is Sanjana, as you know, somebody just told. I did my PhD back in IIT, and then I did my postdoc, and then I joined the pharmaceutical industry. So the transition from academia to industry. So you know, when you're doing a research, it's more like, you know, you want to be like, people think like you become a faculty. Like when we are in India, it's like mostly it's like, you know, we go for like professorship or we do some research, but nobody has thought like about the industry side more. Like I was myself one of the first ones to like thinking that, you know, I did my PhD, my postdoc, and then I joined back as a research, you know, in a good institution or a professor. But then I found this pathway of industry, and honestly speaking, I love it. I love my work, I love my job. So I think it's a different path, but it's also very much rewarding, because I think when you are in the industry, especially pharma industry, you are with like the real world. You face, you are always constantly, you know, producing. You're working with drugs, with various upcoming drugs, where you have to do several clinical trials. You are with diagnostic centers where you actually work with clinical samples and you handle patients and you handle real life with you. So it's very rewarding when you see that you're doing something for the society. So I think that has kept me motivated in, you know, doing my job. There are several gaps between academia and industry, but that is what I think. In academia, we are more like, you know, curriculum oriented, we do basic research funding. But when it comes to industry, it's more of like, you know, we have to be realistic when we are working with we are innovating some drug molecules, and we are working towards getting that drug molecules on the market. It's a different kind of approach. So it's very different when we think about academia side and the industry side. So the main factor is like how many of people want to go from like, you know, like now the students are here like master student. So after that, people want to go for research or they want to do industry. So I would say that it's possible without doing a PhD. You can also go to the industry directly from like, but you might be willing to go like from a smaller position, but that will grow, and you can move towards industry without being doing a PhD. But I think if you do a PhD and then you go with industry, it sets you a higher goal, because you already know the research side of it. You know how innovations happen, and you know how those innovations are translated to industry. So I believe that doing a PhD, doing some research background, and then going to industry is a much better pathway. As for jobs are concerned, when you are a beginner, you have to search for jobs. There are several recruiters who can, you know, provide you opportunities to give several interviews, and you have to know like how to which positions to go based on your educational career background, and then prepare yourself for those interviews, and make your mind for that transition to go from to jump into the industry. And it's also good to have mock interviews for yourself just to prepare yourself, and always keep in mind, keep in touch with people who are associated with the pharmaceutical companies or pharma industry, so that you know the pathway, because people who are already there, they already know the path. So when I came, I was very new, I didn't know many people, but then I had my path wasn't that very straight, but when I once jumped into it, I got to know a lot of people in the industry, and that helped me grow in the industry. So it's always good to keep contact with people who are already in the industry if you want to jump into that sector. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say.
Let me add, actually she was so concerned, that ma'am, it'll be late for, the timing for her side. Should I make a video so that, it'll be ready beforehand? So much of concerns, and this is what I think, that is the nature of you that make you to where you are right now is because of you, in fact, So it's all because of
Thank
your
you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think it's all the blessings of you teachers that I'm here, ma'am, today. So I cannot forget them.
That's your humility. That's your humility that has kept you. Your humility remains the same that we saw in the class, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjana.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, so much for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjana Kandar for that inspiring talk. Next up, we have Mr. Vipul Saxena from 2014-2016 batch, who is currently working as subject matter expert at Global Media Solutions, Lonza Bioscience, Haryana. He is an experienced upstream process development expert with over 7 years experience in biopharmaceuticals, specializing in monoclonal antibody production, skilled in media optimization, scale-up, tech transfer, and process validation, with hands-on expertise on bioreactors and analytical tools. We all welcome him with a round of applause. Sir.
Hello everyone. Sir, how are you?
I'm fine, but I'm good, all good.
Hello ma'am.
Hello. Happy to see you.
Hello everyone. Yes, good to see you actually. Everybody is here.
Same here. We're so happy.
So, thank you for the introduction. And I would like to start off by saying that NEHU has been a really place that I actually still feel like a home. And I would like to say that I started my career in a company called IOC, Bangalore Biotech Private Limited. And from there, I have gone to a company named Stelis Biopharma, which is now Biosource Pharmaceutical Limited. So they have changed the name. They have been registered to NSE recently. And it is a part of Strides Pharma Group. So it's a biotech division of Strides Pharma. And there I have developed monoclonal antibodies and different molecules for enzymes and therapeutics, which are part of injectables and protein-based as well as different hormones. So this is like a presentation I made thinking that a variety of population. So you might find it a little bit amusing the beginning because I start from very basic. So I made this presentation in a way that not considering what is going on or what has happened before in history and all. It's mostly driven for a person that I had felt like when I was in university, and I actually wanted to gain these things through the through the different channels, through networking or through different sources. So this, I felt like if I would have encountered something like this, it might have been helpful. So we say that biotechnology actually refers to using a living organism or a system that develops a product. So it's an amalgamation of utilizing a technology for a purpose to evolve a conventional biology. And this is something that has been happening not from today, but you can see that if you really research about biotechnology, you might find there was a bubble that originated back in 90s, close to 2000, when everybody was talking about biotechnology, and it really became a big thing by 2010. Everybody had an idea about what biotechnology does, and they have a significance in medicine. So they play a crucial role in medical research, including drug development, genetic testing, and personalized medicine. And it has revolutionized the treatment that is available to us right now. Like we can actually treat thalassemia right now. We can actually treat, cancer. We can actually treat HIV. There are those things that we used to study that those are not curable. There are medicine available. There are research going on which are going for clinicals. So there is good hope in the significance that we talk about in medicine. So my presentation will be driven for medicine because I have come from a background which involves production of biopharmaceuticals, and I work for a pharmaceutical company. These three research I considered as a kind of a pivot which led to creation of what we actually encounter today. So in 1931, Nolan they discovered electron microscope. And if you see, there is something called cytobiology that existed before this time period. And later on, when we discovered electron microscope, there was no limit. The cell biology actually evolved in a way that it became more molecular driven. We got to know that what are the molecules, what actually happens in the cell. The cell consists of billions of this molecule, and they work together to make some beautiful proteins and the research that we see today. Then evolution came. It did go deep into molecular. Then in 1983, I think Gary Mullis, when he discovered PCR, that revolutionized and acted as a second pivot because it actually was about taking care of your particular gene and taking it out and developing another and amplifying it and using it for your purpose. So it's a gene manipulation tool which became one of the greatest research in the field of biotechnology. The third was the recent one, which was 2012, when Dodona and Carpenter discovered CRISPR-Cas, and this is the gene manipulation tool, which was followed by different ways to do it through transposers, through different ways, and it became one of the technology that we use today. And you will be surprised to know that the day they discovered this, actually it has been taken forward. And there are so many gene editing tools which has come since then, and they are actually being utilized to create wonderful cell therapies right now. So I will quickly move on to the trends and innovation. So as I mentioned about the CRISPR gene editing tool, regenerative medicine, and biomanufacturing, these are the innovations which are available to us, which are transforming health and approaches which we take to actually address the medicine, to address any of the diseases. And the cell therapy is one of the examples, which is one of the recent development through the different gene editing tool and different methodology of providing live cell as a therapeutics. And this is one of the greatest advancements that has happened. The second is about the biosensors, which people who work in diagnostic, they can really talk about this. After this, I would like to take a drive into, before I go for telling about what opportunity or what area to explore, I would rather discuss about what are the opportunities and how to find them. Because this biotechnology sector is really vast. It has grown to a level that there are opportunity. If you go to any of the recruitment portal, you see tons and tons of opportunity. So how to navigate through this? Like what do you do as a career development when you're trying to focus as a student? What you should do? So in my way, as I can share my experience that I have done, I took one of the opportunity to actually go to an industry where I got a hands-on experience. So when you are oriented for an industry, the hands-on experience is something that adds really value to your curriculum and what you study at your degree or your academics. Academics does teaches us, we do practicals as well in academic scenario. Although when we are working for that particular subject, We go for developing more and more skills. We learn more practical challenges. We try to solve them through our critical thinking. So those are the things that industry actually look for. So in my early career, one of the things that you encounter is different types of interviews. So when you are in early career, I used to remember, like, I was one of the kids. I think my batchmates are also here. They will agree to this, that I used to ask question and sometimes extended the lectures as well. I used to get scolded for that. So this is something that you should adapt to. I mean, it could be a different way to do. There could be a different way to do it. So you can find it how you want to address it. So there are 3 industrial areas of research which are currently ongoing. I will give a detailed slide about this in the upcoming section. This is just to navigate through that particular section. And there are prominent regenerative medicine and personalized medicines are coming up, and gene therapy, as you are aware of. So I will quickly focus into how you need to develop your connection. Like before this, I was talking about connections. Connections do have a value in industry, not only for getting you a job interview or getting you a job, but actually for enhancing your own skill and learning. When you have a connection can mean anything. It doesn't mean that you have to connect to a particular person who's working as a AVP in any hotshot industry. It cannot be just that. It can be a simple, cross-functional department connection. Like, for example, you're working in biotechnology. It can be something that is related to any of the other university, like where your schoolmate or your batchmate has studied. It can be anything. It can be a cross-functional team where you're working on different projects among yourself. It's just to exchange knowledge. The research institute, like we have IT Guwahati, like when we were there, we used to, when you get some time, we used to go for different tools. So we can adapt that. There will be some tool for you as well. Just recently happened, you have taken one other tool for the IIT. So these are the places where you go there, you build your network. Those network, you can slowly get in touch with them, you can follow it along. What I feel important is what we study as a subject. If you try to find a simple workshop related to that, a simple internship related to that, that would be a really game changer for your resume when you are going for industry orientation. And maybe if you do it properly, you can actually bypass the need for even being an intern. I have seen that, and I have actually recruited people who have done this. So engaging into the projects and internship is very crucial. Although our curriculum might not sometimes allow us to go outside, but finding these opportunities are right now very it's like very good, because you sometimes don't even have to go for a lab if you are working, suppose, for biotechnology, bioinformatics, or any of the recent advancement of AI-based companies. They offer online internships, they offer remote work as well. So it's not only limited to the classroom knowledge; it's also about developing your connection into different verses. I would go for one of the area which our discussion focuses on, emerging opportunities in biotechnology. So there are definitely diverse horizon available for you, and I would like to present 2 major industrial-driven scenarios where all the money right now is invested, and like bear with me, it's a little bit lengthy. It might look like a little bit lengthy. So, what are those 2 domains which, if you want me to select those 2 domains where people are right now working, or where the jobs are being created, where the money has been invested, these are divided into 2 therapies which are available for us to use right now as a macromolecule. When we say macromolecule, we distinguish ourselves which are protein-based therapies or lipid-based therapy, or any of these therapies which are not small molecule. Like, for example, if you take paracetamol for fever, it is a small molecule. But when you take insulin for curing the diabetes, it is a bigger and it's a macromolecule protein-based hormonal therapy. So the 2 domains which are divided right now are protein-based therapies and cell and gene-based therapies. So protein-based therapies, as you might have heard about all these in your curriculum or through the literature available to you, these are the therapeutics use of biologically active protein to replace, enhance, or regulate your biological function. For example, if you have a particular gene mutation, or if you have been if your body has encountered a kind of say cancer, so we do understand how the body actually fight with the cancer, and what has happened in last 60 years to 70 years, people have identified those antibodies which actually are raised by our body against those cancers. Then we found those targets, and they created the monoclonal antibody specific for that particular cancer. So these are target-specific antigen against the antigen antibodies, and similarly we have enzyme replacement therapies. We have hormonal therapies like insulin, erythropoietin. You might have heard about during our COVID time there was a huge demand of darbepoetin, which was actually nothing but recombinant erythropoietin, and there are so many major companies in India who are producing this as a bulk, and they supply it to the world as well. We have cytokines available which stimulate immune responses and cell growth. We also have fusion proteins, which are engineered protein for combining two different functions. They can be two different administration can be done for two different treatment for different diseases. Similarly, we have cell and gene-based therapy, where we have therapy of that modify or uses genetic material to prevent or potentially cure a disease. So, for example, you actually have right now available stem cell therapy, where you are able to replace the bone marrow, where you have available CAR-T cell therapy, which are nothing but engineered T cells, which are engineered in a way to enhance them to attack a particular cancer. And these are the example available for all these therapies. You have gene replacement therapy, you have gene editing therapies, RNA and viral vectors. Moving on to one of the major development, like previous speaker also spoke about this thing. I think right now it might not make sense to you how the whole world of biopharma is being driven. So I wanted to include this slide because when I got exposed to this slide in my career, this really helped me in deciding how to navigate the career. Because this particular slide talks about how does a drug, it evolves from being just a candidate for as a molecule and goes into market. This is called life cycle of a medicine, and where we have domains called research and discovery, where we have clinical development, and post-approval we have life cycle management and pharmacovigilance. All these steps lead to a particular role which is being performed by a human. So you have different roles available. Like you can join as a research scientist, you can join as a clinical research associate, you can join as a regulatory affairs specialist. So the reason I want to include this slide is to showcase kind of a hierarchy which exists in the company as an organizational structure. The purpose of this slide is to make you aware of what are the roles which are available. For example, if you are studying right now, say biotechnological or pharmaceutical management as one of your elective subjects, you are studying biotechnology. It doesn't mean that you only have to go to the lab. You have n number of options available to you, and you actually can navigate your career through all these verticals. These are all functional domains of a typical biopharmaceutical organization, where we have executive leadership, starting from CEO, CFO, CTOs, and all executive positions. Then we have a research and development domain, where we actually have a discovery. We have preclinical development, we have a regulatory, translational medicine, and biostats. So these two domains are the main domains which are giving you a shop floor kind of a wet lab experience. Then we go for a regulatory affair. These are basically considered as the late development, which are part of your evaluation and documentation, which are submitted to the regulatory authority. Similarly, you have medical affairs, you have commercial roles. So not only any other biopharmaceutical company not only have production capability, they might also have selling capability. For example, right now in India, the structure is going towards CDMO model. CDMO is contract manufacturing of drug organization. So once these organizations make a drug, they actually sell it to a different person, or they actually take it from somebody and run their project and then give back the final product, which is being labeled by somebody, big pharma, and then being sent to the market. So those commercial roles are available in all the organizations. You have corporate functions as well, you have business side as well for business development, and your alliances, where company get acquired. For example, the company which I was working for was actually a startup. After this, I would just like to give you a present scenario, which is how the transformative impact of the medicine is having on our career strategies. And as I mentioned about the upcoming trend in the biotechnology, so the reason of these slides are to tell you the hotspots which are available in 2025 if you are planning to navigate your career to an industrial domain. So these are the career paths you can actually take. This particular chart is depicting the biotechnology career path by demand level. So demand level means the reason I created this graph is when we say demand level, it is actually how much money is being invested in these sectors and how much jobs are being created. So if you say the giant goes to biopharma R&D and drug development, where the most of the jobs right now are available. So as I talked about research scientists, your drug discovery teams, your drug development process optimization part, your process developer, your scale-ups, all these jobs are part of the R&D and drug development. So this is the domain where I used to work. Then you have the upcoming sector of biotechnology, which is driven by artificial intelligence and machine learning. So if I don't know whether you heard about this or not, the day this all OpenAI and artificial intelligence and machine learning became as an open knowledge, people have actually implemented it for the first time in the biotechnology to remove the need for organ-based and animal-based testing. So this is one of the recent development which has happened. Then third, as you are studying in a department where bioinformatics is also a major subject and computational biology, this actually has become a giant, next to the giant in the last 10 years. The biotechnology followed by bioinformatics became one of the hand-to-hand going industry for the industrial scenarios. Then we have jobs available in the regulatory affairs, and you might, if you follow the news of biopharmaceutical, you might be aware of a big pharmaceutical company of abroad are now coming back to India. For example, we have BMS in our India, we have Amgen in our India, we have companies like AstraZeneca offices, we have Sanofi, we have Novo Nordics. All these hotshot big companies are available in India. And one of the companies which was not doing as a business as a leader of B2B businesses was Lonza Biotech, and I became one of the first employees for representing Lonza business in India, and I'm taking care of India and Middle East region for their development. And similarly, we have cell and gene therapy, which is one of the most important fields right now. After, when you talk about wet lab, we have biopharmaceutical R&D and drug development, and the next giant is the cell and gene therapy. So how these technologies are impacting our medicine? So we have revolutionized, as I was talking about AI in medicine. We are learning about how the diagnostic can be improved. We are learning about how the clinical trial can be simulated, can be can be done to avoid the roadblocks which we experience during the clinical trial, and how the data can be analyzed quicker. How can we reduce the time of lab to market? So coming back to the point of emerging areas, so as I have listed about the fields, now I will talk about areas available in the field which are supporting that particular field. So I have jotted down 10 different fields which are available right now, and these are the core area where the work is happening in these particular fields. So you can reach out to me for these particular information. That is not an issue. The reason to showcase this information to you right now is to help you understand that these are the jobs which are available in the industry. These are just a glimpse of it because these are the hot topics right now the present for the job development, and these are the skills which are required. So the reason I also want to present this data is because you can see these things. For example, cell culture, for example, purification or a downstream processing or learning a particular language. These all core skills are right now is part of your curriculum. This is where it gets interesting. You are studying this right now, but you're not aware that how you can utilize it for your benefit into the academics. And I think this particular slide will help you in deciding those things. Navigating through your programs, and as I was talking about how your course structures can actually help you in the navigating through this particular field of industrial biotechnology. You see the fields like molecular biology, biochemistry, immunology, biotechnology, and bioinformatics. These are the subjects which are already building the fundamental upon right now, and these have a very huge potential to take you a journey through through into the biopharmaceuticals. Then this is about your research experience, how much you get your hands on, how much you learn in the lab, and as I also have a syllabus attached to this, which was my syllabus when I was in NEHU. So if you want to have a look, I can show it to you if you already have it. The last but not the least, I want to tell you about how this particular revolution happened. So when we were in back in 2014, we were part of an industry which was actually lagging behind in the industrial perspective. But as the world has grown towards more and more automated systems, the revolution happened from industry 3.2 to 4.0. And this was a game changer for all of us, including the biopharmaceuticals. So I wanted to introduce to you that right now we are living into an age where we are advancing in terms of cyber physical system, where we are trying to implement a kind of cohesive model with the human interface as well as a computer taking support of us, or we are taking support of the systems. This will be going towards more of an automated version, but it would be in that we need superior programmer and supervisors to actually navigate through this, and we are looking forward for a continuous manufacturing, predictive maintenance, and we are also personalized medicine and therapy-based system. So I just wanted to introduce, you can Google about Industry 4.0 and how it is being a game changer for almost every industry right now which is existing in our country. So with this, I would like to complete my presentation, and it's open for the questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vipul. Actually, I know that you have been traveling these days. In fact, I may be in Hyderabad also traveling, and in spite of your busy schedule, you managed to, prepare a slide so beautifully. So, I mean, the kind of dedication that you are putting into it, we really are, thankful to that, and we really appreciate your efforts. And I can see that your willingness is there. I remember last time you told me, ma'am, I can arrange a meeting also where, from your manager side, you will actually discuss. I said, definitely, but this is something which we want to talk about you. So that's the reason why we said, okay, next time we will keep it. But that is definitely one of the priority that we will keep in mind. We'll have. Thank you so much, Vipul, for your time.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me.
So I would like to introduce Ms. Apurva. Apurva is an accomplished professional from the Department of Biotechnology, batch 2019-21. After qualifying late and completing her master's, she made an early mark in the EdTech industry, rising from lead faculty at Akash Barijus to leading major online learning initiatives. She has played key roles in EdTech startups like Philo and Abiti, driving innovation and impact at scale. Her leadership has been recognized with the Women Leader Award 2023 from the Government of Jharkhand for her contributions to B2G projects, including the launch of e-learning support and Super 30 in Jharkhand and educational initiatives in Bihar and Rajasthan. Currently, a manager at Geolife, Apurva leverages her biotechnology expertise in healthcare technology projects, embodying adaptability, innovation, and a passion for inspiring others. Let's warmly welcome her.
Hey, hi everyone, thank you, right? It's really nostalgic to see those chairs, to see my professors here. So, it's a great pleasure for me to reconnect during this alumni event, right? So, during the last sem it was a COVID time. So, during my last semester, right in the middle of the COVID pandemic, I started questioning the traditional career trajectory. What I can do. I really like to teach also because during my grad I used to teach 11, 12 students because that's how my roots are deeply in because I come from a background where I have seen my mother teaching in colleges, so I really like the way she inspires students and the way she teaches. So from that time I started questioning the traditional career trajectory. I have been keeping the same thing. I asked myself, how can I leverage everything that I have learned so far and carve a unique path. So that's when I decided to explore something beyond the lab and academia. So now I consider the entire journey as a mystery room, right? Let me try to open the first door, which was, when she introduced she told, right, EdTech is the thing where I started my career. So I took my first step in EdTech as a NEHU faculty with Akash, and just, you must have heard at the big mergers with Byju's and Topper was happening at that point of time. My first online lecture was on cell biology, was really a turning point, I would say. I still remember the roasting and the drilling which we went through in AC science class. Then again, Majau ma'am for immunology, all those were deeply rooted in me. So my first lecture was on, it's a turning point again. It was cell biology, and following to that, I got one lecture in biotechnology, which plays pivotal weightage when the students appear for NEET examination. So I would say the first lecture was really a turning point. The way I connected with students, using human needs, using real life examples, all those made me a top rated faculty in just 3 months of my initial journey, and that was COVID time, right? So that single opening of the door has led to many more doors for me. Then from there, soon I started leading the biology department with Byju's, with Topper, training the fellow faculties for online classes because there were faculties who has been teaching from 20 plus years, but connecting in online mode where you can't see the students. You can't see them, but you have to connect to them. You can't see where their reaction. You can't see whether they are able to gauge you or not, right? But you have to create an environment to connect with them. So that's how, right, I was able to train my senior faculties as well. Initially, I was thinking, right, those people are there from 20 plus years. How would I do that? So, right, I gathered my courage to train my fellow faculties, and slowly, right, from there, I got promoted to a program manager, and eventually launching a new idea I came through it, which was the hybrid life classes. That became the major success in the organization. Right, so that's how I started initially. Since the first launch, as I said, I came to launch on the hybrid life classes, and it was one of the best product it came in 2021, 2022. In back of mind, it was going on, right, I have something I want to do, I want to explore the journey in entrepreneurship. So from there, from EdTech, now my journey started to entrepreneurship. Like with the growing experience with management and the passion, constantly on innovation, I ventured into the startup world. Now I realized, right, building something early on the meaningful and the strong level will really take time. And as my seniors say, how the industry works, it's like networking. You have to find a strong co-founder to move through. So that's how, right, I started venturing into a startup world. Okay. At that time, I joined Philo, and later, as a part of the networking, I thought, right, to position myself in the field of management, when we propose our idea to the investors, they see your background. So my background was completely into biotech and pharma. So their question used to come, okay, you are from this background, how come you are, into management, how come you are in leadership, all those questions were coming. So that's how I had to put my co-founders up front and took a back step there. And from there, slowly I started, okay, let me build a connection, let me build a background. That's how I got landed into the management. In fact, I am Koikor and I'm one of the alumni from the management department of I am Koikor. So that gave me, good networking. That gave me a groundbreaking understanding of the market a bit. Then let me talk about a bit in, when I say groundbreaking product which I was able to make. The concept was we connected to students within a span of 60 odd seconds and the app was live in 24 hours. Now I have a good background, I have a good face in the market, now I can present my product. So that's how we ventured into product presentation, and we had successfully secured 23 million of Series A funding, and so on. That was it happened. And from there, right, I landed up to another startup because at that time I was completely into learning phase. The startup had just started, and I could see my capabilities beyond that. I could also have a good understanding in product, in technology, in diverse backgrounds, and from there I really got inspired to do something of my own. Then I ventured into Aviti. And the project in Aviti was same, connect to tutor in 24 seconds. And when I was in Philo, right, we built a groundbreaking product where the model was like same like Uber and Ola, because the app was live 24/7 and we connected to students in 60 odd seconds. Right. So from there, again, this funding story came. I could make my face in the market since I now have a strong background. So within just 3-4 years, I have already seen success. Now I was yet to face and embrace the failure and as well as the reinvention part of it. Because success isn't a straight line. When the edtech bubble was busted out, my startup faced tough market disruptions, I would say, and investment really dried up. And I had to make difficult decisions to exceed a project where I had poured my heart into, and launching 400 plus tutors was the USP and thousands of users. I really took a phase at that time and I took a pause and upskilled myself, I would say, in cloud engineering, in Gen AI, ML, and other domains. Because during my startup, when I was working in product launch, I had a very strong understanding in the tech stacks. So, and that's how I leveraged my learning and embracing the new Gen AI. So I took a pause at that time, and I wanted to explore other domains and fintech, pharma, and health tech as well, because I was completely into management now. And that's how I landed at Deloitte, and where we are currently, as if we say it right, the top pharma companies like Amgen, AstraZeneca, we're also a part of our client. And it's very competitive, right? When you land into Deloitte from other background, initial ground setting, the expectation framework is very different. But since I come from biotech background, I got the first opportunity to work with my first client as Amgen here, right? So because we have interviews when you get introduced to client, and when they come to know you are from that background, where you have biotech and bioinformatics as your background, you will definitely get the first preference to work as a manager with those clients. Right. So the key takeaways are my journey was not conventional, right? I had to find opportunities. So we have to find opportunities. I would say it's everywhere. We just need to look beyond the obvious, right? Because biotech isn't limited to PhD or pharma, I would say. The field is really evolving, and we have to intersect those technologies and business and innovations, right? And leverage our learning, embrace the technologies, and stay adaptable is something we have to do moving ahead. Because our learnings, whichever we have learned during our masters or during our PhDs, can be really embraced moving ahead. So just to stop here, let me leave you all with the thoughts that this degree is not something, it's the limitation. I would say your degree is the foundation, right? And opening one door with courage, and you will find many more waiting to us. Because the future is the one for the future is really for the ones who is willing to learn, unlearn and relearn. So that's the reason I would say keep moving forward. Your big opportunity might be just one step away.
So thank you so much, Apurva, for sparing your time and giving us information about your achievement, in fact. And I know that you have informed me even before also about how you actually went from one phase to another. The very idea is that what I have understood from your life is that you have been putting a lot of effort, and that effort has actually ultimately gave you a direction in life with respect to your career as well. A lot of scopes are coming up now with AI in biotech level. Same way, I think you have used it using those courses and all. So probably students will be able to understand that after the MSc you still have a scope, to deviate a little bit from that field, and then add some more information by going for latest things like working on AI. And this is not the end, by the way. This is the beginning, and we will need all, just like you, all others also, all the alumni will need your support for making this journey not to stop today, but begin from today only. Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Dr. Ajay Pradhan, who is an experienced toxicologist and developmental biologist, currently serving as Associate Director at AstraZeneca, where he leads drug discovery projects involving small molecules, biologics, and oligonucleotides. He has a strong academic background as an associate professor at Urupro University with expertise in toxicology, developmental biology, and translational research. He holds a PhD in biology from Urupro University and has authored over 40 peer-reviewed publications and has managed over 10 research grants. Dr. Pradhan, now we invite you to address the gathering.
Hello,
After such a long time, see.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay,
So, Ajay,
yeah. So first of all, thank you, Sukti ma'am, for inviting me. So out of nowhere, you just showed up one day and asked me to be present, to be here. So thank you for that. So I come from Meghalaya. I was born and brought up here. Yeah, it's very nostalgic pictures. I still miss. And I think he very much knows me, my family. Like I come from a very humble family. So, and then coming to my student life. Okay, so if you see this slide, so you see that most of the time I was just busy playing, activity with friends, and maybe one of the small sample you see that is, maybe you cannot hardly see that is studies that we did. Our friends who used to study just before the exam, and I think Joshi sir also knows that during bachelor he was also teaching us that time, and we were some group of friends. We were like most of them maybe not taste, and then we were hardly interested in studies, but we used to study. And most of my batchmates that time, they managed to do very well. So I started my bachelor in biotechnology in St. Anthony's College, Shillong. Joshi sir was also there that time. And then once I finished my bachelor's, then I moved to master's in biotechnology. And I think that time even Anthony's College had open master's degree, but I chose to go to NEHU because my father was working in NEHU. Now he's retired. So Joshi sir also knows him. So it was easy for me to come to NEHU because I was staying in NEHU campus that time. So now after that I moved to this company. It's a drug discovery company in Kolkata. I can tell you how I landed there. So one day we were having classes in NEHU. Sir Joshi came and he said, there is some company has come and maybe you should go and give some, like they have come for this campus interview, so they wanted to give some written exam. So I went there, so our batch went there, so I clicked, I did well in the written exam, so I was called for interview, and then I went to Kolkata for a oral interview, and the questions, most questions that they asked was more like application-based questions, and then I liked that kind of questions, and I think Sutina also knows that because I was not very interested to study book and write big essays, and that's why I never did well in this university exams, especially in my first semester, because first semester when I was reading, then I thought that when I would go to the exam hall, then the questions would be more like application based, like how you will stop the virus. But then I was pretty devastated when the question came like essay on virus. So that is not my cup of tea. So I did pretty bad in my first semester, and then the other students, especially the Mandy, sitting at my she was doing top. And then from second semester, I realized that I have to write, I have to read and vomit in the exam. So then, from second semester, I did started writing, and then I think it was also good practice for me to do for the NET exam, because during that time we used to have this long answers, like you had to write big answers, but I guess nowadays it has changed. So that's why NET exam was also not for me. So I did not clear NET exam, I just got the NS, not the JRF. But then, if I tell you about this company, so when I went for the interview, so they asked me mostly the application-based questions, so it was very nice discussion with the seniors there, the hiring managers. So I clicked the interview, and then I joined in 2007. And then, during that time, the NET exam result came, like after 4 or 5 months, after joining the company. So then I just got the LS, so I didn't have a chance to do PhD. But then I got so engrossed with this company because there were so many things to learn, so many good friends. So I used to reach office like 7 o'clock, return home by 11 o'clock, night time. So there was like hardly any time to prepare for that exam. But then somehow I managed to give this JNU exam, written exam, during when I was doing that, when I was in this company. So I cleared the JNU exam because the JNU exam is also very much application based. It's you don't have to write big answers, you just have to think and tick all the stuff to the boxes. So I did that, and then I was called for interview. And then in the interview, there was like almost 25 professors sitting, like I was at the center and they surrounded me. I was like scared to see all the professors. And then the first question was, describe kingdom's classification. And then I was lost from the first question itself. And I said, I'm not going to make it this interview. So, and yeah, because like when I joined the company, we were doing very high-fi stuff. It was all application-based, new drugs, how to screen them, how to do analysis. So it was more into futuristic world than going into kingdom classification. So I didn't make it the GNU. So then I still continued working for this company. But then I got so engrossed with this company because there were so many things to learn, so many good friends. So I used to reach office like 7 o'clock, return home by 11 o'clock, night time. So there was like hardly any time to prepare for that exam. But then somehow I managed to give this JNU exam, written exam, during when I was doing that, when I was in this company. So I cleared the JNU exam because the JNU exam is also very much application based. it's you don't have to write big answers. You just have to think and tick all the stuff to the boxes. So I did that, and then I was called for interview. And then in the interview, there was like almost 25 professors sitting, like I was at the center and they surrounded me. I was like scared to see all the professors. And then the first question was, describe kingdom's classification. And then I was lost from the first question. And I said, I'm not going to make it this interview. So, and yeah, because like when I joined the company, we were doing very high-fi stuff. It was all application-based, new drugs, how to screen them, how to do analysis. So it was more into futuristic world than going to kingdom classification. So I didn't make it the GNU. So then I still continued working for this company. And then my plan was to work for 2 years and then go for PhD. But then I was so much engrossed in my work, then it extended for 3 years. But then at some point I realized that it's getting, it became monotonous at some point because I was doing the same thing, although I was reading, but still it became monotonous, going to office and doing the same thing. Then I decided enough is enough, so then I started applying for PhD outside India. So I was mostly focused in Europe. So luckily I got this PhD in Örebro University in Sweden. So that professor, he was looking for someone who has already worked in industry because he had this collaboration with industry, so he had projects. So I clicked there, so I went for PhD 2010 after working 3 years in this company. So I did PhD in developmental biology, toxicology, molecular biology, and then I could produce like 10 papers in peer-reviewed journals. And I finished my PhD in 2015. So it was like almost 4.5 years of PhD. And then I was very sure that I would go to USA for my postdoc. So in 2015, March, April, I went to USA. I got a postdoctoral position there. So then there I could learn new things, new model systems, aliens, mice. And I was also working with new technologies like CRISPR, so I could learn CRISPR, knock-in, knock-out, all the gene technologies. And then I worked there for almost 1.5 years, and then back in Sweden, I had applied grant before coming. So I got a grant, so I had the option to either stay in USA or go back to Örebro University for my second postdoc. So it was a big decision for me. So it was very difficult to decide what I want to do, but since there was a grant, so I thought maybe it's a good idea to go back. Now when I think back, so I think maybe it was a good idea to come back because now with Trump administration, it has become really difficult because people are struggling getting grants, people are being fired left and right. Like if you heard about the FDA, they have fired so many people there. So I came back for postdoctoral, back to the same university, and then I did postdoctoral fellow there for maybe 2 years, and then I got the assistant professorship there. And then in 2020, I got my associate professorship. So where you have, like they call it docents or docentship, where you have to produce like number of papers, senior author papers, lots of teaching hours, and mentorship or student supervising students. So I fulfilled all the criteria. I sent my document for external evaluation. So that was accepted and I got my associate professorship. So I worked there for another 2 years, like until 2023, something. But there was some internal problems going on there, not with me, but overall organization. organization. So I thought maybe it's a good time I should move out. So during that time I got one position in different university in Sweden. So it was again associate professor position. So, and then I also happened to apply this position in AstraZeneca. So I got two positions at the same time. Now again I was in dilemma whether to go again to academia or in AstraZeneca. Then वो बोलते हैं ना सर, जब लीडर की मौत आती है तो शहर की तरफ भागता है. Then I chose AstraZeneca, and then like first few months I thought I regretted my decision. I thought I should have taken this academic position. But now it has been like almost 2 years in AstraZeneca. So, and I don't regret now, but now I feel like maybe I should again take a decision whether to go back to academia or maybe change the company. Now, what are the reasons that has kept holding me to this company is, okay, so there are like lots of different modalities and they have diverse mechanisms of action. And so in the first year I was working with small molecules, the classical small molecules where the molecule go and bind to the receptor or the protein and inhibit the function. But then I also got the PROTAC projects. I don't know if you know the PROTACs. So it's kind of small molecule. It has two binding partners. One binds to your protein of interest, the other part binds to the E3 ligase, and then the E3 ligase brings the ubiquitin, there is ubiquitination, and then it leads to proteasomal degradation. So what happens is usually people they were using siRNA for knocking down the gene of interest, and mostly what happens is most of the time when we knock down the gene at transcript level, it doesn't usually translate to the protein level because the gene protein turnover and the gene turnover is different. So sometimes you don't get the required downregulation at the protein level. So PROTAC is very good in that sense. It directly degrades your protein of interest. But there are lots of challenges with PROTACs, so where the biotechnology comes into play. Like PROTACs, they are usually bigger in size than the conventional or classical small molecules. So, and like people, they don't like to be injected, so most of the drugs that we produce is mostly through oral route, so because it's easier for people to take than do IV injections. So, but the PROTACs, since it's big, it's very difficult for your body to absorb, so it just goes inside and comes outside. So there is very low absorption. So as a result, what's happening is the industry has started to lose interest on PROTAC. And I don't know how long they can carry on unless they will find some solution to fix this. But what I see is for PROTAC is it's a very good tool for the academia, where you just take the PROTACs, put it in the cell and knock down your protein of interest and see what happens. But industry-wise, some big innovation has to come to rescue this PROTAC modality. And now, in the first year, I was busy doing PROTACs, and then I asked for oligonucleotide projects. Then I got oligonucleotide projects, siRNA, ASO. And then again, there are also problems with siRNA, ASO. Like you have the targeted oligonucleotides where you link your molecule with some linker so that you make the oligonucleotides go where you want. Like if you want siRNA or oligonucleotides go only to the liver, you put some linker so that it takes your oligonucleotide only to the site of action. So that in that case, what you will do is maximize your drug in the site of action and reduce the systemic exposure and reduce the tox. But that is also a challenging area that has to be fixed. People are working on that industry-wise. And now after this, I'm doing oligonucleotide projects, and then now I have asked for biologics. Now I got the biologics projects. And when it comes to biologics, there are different types: MABs, bispecific, ADCs, T-cell engagers, peptides. There are more. I have not listed all. This slide will not be enough. Like this particular slide would not be enough if I start putting all modalities and different types of mechanisms. And there are peptides as well. Maybe you have heard about Ozempic, which is synthesized, which is owned by Novo Nordisk, which is used for obesity, and they made lots of money with this Ozempic, but now the share is going down, and just yesterday the CEO is resigning, or maybe he's stepping down. Novo Nordisk, which is a Danish company, and the share is going down because the LIVD has come up with their own peptide GLP-1, which works maybe slightly better than, or maybe it's commercially more viable than the Novo Nordisk. So this is what is going on in the industry. And then there are also cell therapy. So I guess it was Vidku or someone who was talking about cell therapy. So, and in cell therapy also I have not listed different types. The common ones are CAR-T, Treg, and I have not even touched cell therapy area. So this is the reason why I have been stuck so much in this company. I am not able to move. Most of the time has been taken, my time has been taken by this modalities. So I'm so much engrossed here. And that's why my output in publishing paper, that has also gone down drastically. When I was associate professor, and I was still affiliated to Oregon University, but now it has gone down drastically. So now I was publishing 3-4 papers per year, minimum 2 to 3 papers, but now it has almost 0. Now, when I came to industry, now I have just managed to write 1 paper. That also it has taken me 2 years to complete, and still it has not submitted. So I'm planning to submit next month. So hopefully I can do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ajay, for what we have learned, that we also understand that you are saying it, that more than money, actually what it counts is the urge to learn, and that is what actually is more important. And this is what we would really want our students as well. Most of the time, or many times in fact, as long as we live in this world, we get attracted to money. That is one important thing, but that should not be the criteria for us to move on. In fact, the urge to learn is the most important thing, through which money will be coming and flowing side by side. Thank you so much, Ajay, for your time, and for giving your information about whatever knowledge you have actually earned through these many years. And we would really want that you stay in touch, even from now on. As we keep on going with the alumni. Thank you so much once again.